Welcome to my channel. I go by the Numismaniac, and I'm a passionate lover of coinage and the history, especially when it comes to Canadian coins. And this is a continuation of the series I started a few months back, and I hope to do this on a regular basis. I'm just looking at the 1876 pennies today, which I'll show just above. It's interesting to be able to handle something like this, especially with the thought that so many people have handled this coin over the years, and the history that it's flowed through just boggles my imagination. I mean, 1876, my goodness. It was a leap year starting on a Saturday of the Gregorian calendar, and the leap year starting on Thursday of the Julian calendar. It was the 1876 year of the Common Era, which would be CE, and Anno Domini, which is AD designations. That would be the 876th year of the second millennium, the 76th year of the 19th century, the 7th year of the 1870s decade. As of the start of 1876, the Gregorian calendar was 12 days ahead of the Julian calendar, which remained in localized use right up until 1923. So with that little tidbit of information, there's a lot of stuff that went on in 1876. In Canada, they initiated the Indian Act, I believe it was Treaty 7, and that was a sad point for the Canadian Aboriginal folks, because it was enacted by the federal government, and it was to administer Indian status, where local First Nation governments and the management of reserve land were controlled. It also outlined government obligations to First Nations peoples, and the Indian Act pertained to people with Indian status that did not directly reference to non-status First Nations people, for instance the Métis or Inuit. And that was instituted in 1876. And the act was subsumed a number of colonial laws that aimed to eliminate First Nations culture in favor of assimilation into Euro-Canadian society, which is a real a sore point, especially these days when you take a look at the residential schools. So we're now aware of that and the impact that it's had on the lives of our First Nations people. So 1876 was when a lot of that stuff started, and it's a sad part of our history. The Canadian military actually had a major thing happen. First off, since 1871, they weren't worried about the Americans invading as much as they were earlier, but they started the Royal Military College in 1876. So that was quite a big step for Canada. We're talking about the Indian Act. 1876 was the year that Custer was wiped out. There's 300 7th Cavalry wiped out by 5,000 Aboriginal warriors led by Sitting Bull. And so that was something that happened. So many different things that had happened over there. You know, in China during 1876, actually went for about 3 years, they had a drought, and some 30 million Chinese people died in 1876. And from 1876 through to 1878. So it was not a good start for the folks in China. There are all kinds of different things that had happened where this coin had been around during that period, and throughout all that time, it just boggles the imagination to see what has happened throughout history. Alexander Graham Bell got his patent in 1876 for the telephone for the United States. I believe the Reich Bank actually got started in Germany during 1876. So tons and tons of things. I even hear that they had a problem with immigrants in Brockton who they brought in apples and pears for the first time, and they got homesick. So there's a lot of things that have happened during the year 1876, and that coin reminds me of the history that took place in it. So I invite you to take a good look at some of our Canadian coinage. I'm going to go through each year and take a look and see what had happened when that coin was minted, and I'll use different denominations as I go along. And I invite you to learn more about things like, you know, the number of coins that were minted, who designed it, whatnot. There's lots of good channels on here beside me, but I'm looking at the history of the coins. So I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me to discuss Canadian coinage and history, and I'll look forward to the next time that we get together. And with that, this is the Numismaniac signing out from Canada. Bye-bye.